Making headlines, leaked audio exposes former President Nasheed's alleged attempt to form a separate state in the south of Maldives. Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Mohammad Asim returns to Mali after attending the 45th OIC Foreign Ministers meeting. And the North Korea accuses the United States of misleading world opinion about its commitment to denuclearization. Welcome to PSM News in English with me, Mariam Shaushat. Former President of Maldives, Mohammad Nasheed's leaked audio exposes former President Mohammad Nasheed Former President of Maldives, Mohammad Nasheed's leaked audio exposes former President Mohammad Nasheed's alleged attempt to form a separate state in the south of Maldives. Although audio of the meetings were leaked, the other participants or the location of the discussions were unclear. According to the leaked audio, Nasheed and his allies were allegedly planning on establishing a separate government in the most south of Maldives, Addu and Formula City. In the audio, when someone suggests the formation of a separate government in Addu city, Nasheed expressed that weapons would be necessary for the task. In the audio, the participants are heard discussing the willingness of MNDF and police personnel to take part in the efforts. It is noteworthy that no one is allowed to form a separate government in any part of Maldives. Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Mohammad Asim returns to Mali after attending the 45th OIC Foreign Ministers meeting held from the 5th to the 6th of May 2016 in Dhaka, Bangladesh. The theme of this year's session was Islamic values for sustainable peace, solidarity and development. Minister Asim delivered a statement at the Council of Foreign Ministers meeting during the session. In delivering his remarks, Minister Asim reaffirmed that the Maldives would remain committed to the ideals and values of the OIC and that of the Muslim Ummah. He stated that the OIC must remain united in tackling the global problems faced by Muslim countries, including on Islamophobia, discrimination and in combating violent extremism. He said partnerships across the various regions represented in the OIC are crucial to tackling the issues faced by the Islamic world. The 45th session of the Council of Foreign Ministers also reviewed a conflict situation in parts of the Muslim world, will discuss issues of international peace and security, Islamophobia, countering terrorism and violent extremism, humanitarian situations and the situation of Muslim countries. OIC is an international body comprising of 57 countries with large Muslim populations. The Council of Foreign Ministers is an annual gathering of the foreign ministers of member states to deliberate on the issues of concern to the Islamic world. Maldives became a member of the OIC in 1976. President of Elections Commission Ahmad Sharif departs to Malaysia to observe the general election in Malaysia. President of Elections Commission is accompanied by member of the Commission Ahmad Akram. Malaysian news websites reported 7 countries including Maldives has so far agreed to send representatives to observe the country's 14th general election. Other countries which accepted the invitation were Indonesia, Thailand, Timor-Leste, Cambodia, Kyrgyzstan and Azerbaijan. Malaysia has invited a total of 13 countries to observe the general election in Malaysia. The general election in Malaysia will be held on the 9th of May with 14.9 million registered voters expected to cast ballots. Majority Leader of Parliament and Parliamentarian of Wilimafanu constituency Ahmad Nihan Hussein Manik departs to Singapore to attend the World Trade Organization WTO Parliamentary Conference. In an exclusive interview with PSM News prior to departure, Ahmad Nihan Hussein Manik said that in addition to the main event, sideline meetings would also be conducted between members of the conference and would discuss on business deals and trade negotiations. This annual conference, organized jointly by the Inter-Parliamentary Union IPU and the European Parliament EP, which is aimed to strengthen democracy at the international level by bringing a parliamentary dimension to multilateral cooperation on trade issues. In this regard, the conference provides legislators with the opportunity to examine developments in the WTO, obtain first-hand information of the state of multilateral trade negotiations, and consider a possible parliamentary contribution to these multilateral processes. At the conference, which would be held from 7th to 9th of this month, Maldives delegation is represented by parliamentarians Ahmad Nihan Hussein Manik, Mohammad Shahid and Hussein Muhammad Latif. ADK Hospital introduces an artificially intelligent robot to disseminate information to their customers via mobile phones. ADK revealed the robot, which utilizes both Viber and Telegram, can be accessed by the public by typing #AskADK.
ADK Hospital, one of the leading hospitals in Maldives, has always focused on providing high-quality services which align the latest technological advancements. Under this objective, ADK has introduced a user-friendly artificially intelligent robot for customer services, which is easily installed to mobile devices by scanning the QR code. In an exclusive interview with PSM News, Managing Director of ADK Hospital Ahmad Affal revealed via the app, customers of the hospital can access the duty tables of doctors, make appointments and get other useful services. Affal noted that currently the robot has limited information. However, with time, the robot would increase its intelligence and with increasing interaction with customers. Affal said, with the upgrading being made, the robot would notify the patient of any pending bills or reports. He assured that ADK Hospital would stay committed to revolutionizing healthcare service and medical services in the country by setting standards in the sector. At the ceremony held to launch the robot, a new fast-track counter was also launched at ADK Hospital. According to the hospital, this new counter would allow customers to attain services from them without waiting in long queues. However, the new counter would not provide services under any healthcare scheme.
Minister of Finance and Treasury Ahmad Munawar secures $165 million to finance the Greater Malé Environmental Improvement and Waste Management Project. At the meetings held on the sidelines of the 51st annual meeting of the Board of Governors of the Asian Development Bank ADB, Finance Minister Ahmad Munawar has secured $165 million to finance the Greater Malé Environmental Improvement and Waste Management Project from various multilateral donors, which includes a 10 to 13% government contribution. Minister Munawar met with several high-level officials from the ADB, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank AIIB, and Islamic Development Bank IDB to confirm the commitment of these developmental partners to fund one of the most historic projects for the Greater Malé region. According to Finance Ministry, AIIB and IDB, in addition to the Japan Fund for the Joint Crediting Mechanism JFJCM, are among the co-financers of this project that aims to provide an eco-friendly solution to waste disposal in the region. Greater Malé Environmental Improvement and Waste Management Project will establish a sustainable solid waste management system for all the inhabited islands and resorts in Kafu Alif Atoll, Kafu, Alifu Alif, Alifu Dalu and Wau atolls in addition to the Greater Malé region. The project will be implemented by Ministry of Environment and Energy along with the Waste Management Corporation Limited. Meanwhile, grant negotiations with ADB for the Phase 1 of the Greater Malé Environmental Improvement and Waste Management Project was successfully concluded on May 2nd at the Ministry of Finance and Treasury, confirming $40 million. During the meeting between Minister Munawar and the ADB team, a president of ADB, Takahiko Nakao, reaffirmed ADB's support to Maldives' economic and social development and further assured the Minister of ADB's assistance for Maldives in providing additional development financing through concessional loans, specifically for mega projects. The minister also met with the Vice President of ADB, Wenkai Zhang, and Director General Hun Kim. Minister of Housing and Infrastructure Dr. Mohammad Muiz reveals with the completion of the China-Maldives Friendship Bridge, a grand and a colorful ceremony would be held by both governments for its inauguration. In an exclusive interview with PSM News prior to his departure to China, Minister Muiz assured work of the China-Maldives Friendship Bridge is progressing at a fast pace as per the given schedule. In this regard, Minister Muiz said the bridge would be completed and inaugurated by the end of August this year. Minister Muiz noted that in his visit to China, he would meet with high-ranking Chinese officials and revealed that discussions would majorly focus on having a grand celebration to open the China-Maldives Friendship Bridge. In addition, the discussions would also highlight aspects such as maintenance work on the bridge after its inauguration. Ministry of Economic Development announces that retailers can operate till 2300 hours until the end of Ramadan. According to Economic Ministry, restaurants, cafes and canteens can be kept open till 300 hours. Following the new regulation, in efforts to ease the traffic congestion in capital, business hours of petrol sheds and cafes, restaurants were also shortened. The new regulation states petrol sheds will close at midnight. Economic Ministry revealed preparations are fast underway to allow retailers to operate for 24 hours. Maldives Getaways reveals that the second Travel Trade Maldives TTM Fair has been a huge success, with discussions held on deals worth $1.7 billion. This year's TTM Fair saw participation from both local and foreign companies.
Organized by a Maldivian public relations company, Maldivian Getaways, the second edition of the Travel Trade Maldives TTM concluded earlier this month. TTM is a unique opportunity for players in the global travel trade market to meet, network and conduct business under one roof. This year, the fair was conducted via different core events such as Hotelier Summit and Suppliers Expo. In an exclusive interview with PSM News, CEO of Maldives Getaways Frat Mohammed said this year's TTM has been a huge success as the pre-scheduled meetings paved way for major beneficial projects to Maldives. Frat revealed that deals worth $1.7 billion were made during the discussions.
We came here for networking and to meet new people, to meet the people in the travel industry, to meet agents, to know the hoteliers and all.
As a buyer, TTM I think is extremely good. It's a great initiative because for one thing, it's much easier to meet everyone in one place. Everyone is based in Maldives. With the place being, everyone being on the islands, it's not the easiest.
For tourism, actually, TTM is very important because we met so much of travel agents, and this will help us to fill, to get more bookings.
I think it's a great show. It has a nice structure of meetings. It's a 20-minute slot or 30-minute slot that you get. It's good. People are coming on time. It gives you good exposure, and it's also clients from different areas of the country or the world.
In addition to the pre-scheduled meetings, the Hotelier Summit has also turned out to be a major success. The summit saw the participation of over 150 general managers and hotel owners. The Hotelier Summit, with its information sessions, presentations and panel discussions, were held from 30th April to 5th of May. According to Maldives Getaways, the main topics of the discussion include safety and security of Chinese tourists in Maldives, the tourism policy of Maldives, airport and air travel, destination marketing, hotel revenue and hotel automation. Maldives Getaways revealed that the next edition of the TTM would be held on a grander scale by organizing its events not only in Maldives but in Sri Lanka as well.
The Democratic People's Republic of Korea accuses the United States of misleading world opinion by saying that the DPRK's commitment to denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula was the outcome of international sanctions and pressure. The DPRK state news agency KCNA quoted a spokesman for the country's Ministry of Foreign Affairs as saying that Washington is deliberately provoking Pyongyang despite the improvement of the situation on the Korean peninsula. The DPRK and the Republic of Korea ROK issued a joint declaration on April 27th saying the two sides are committed to the goal of denuclearization on the Korean peninsula during a historic summit meeting between DPRK top leader Kim Jong-un and South Korean President Moon Jae-in. The DPRK spokesman denounced the U.S. claim that the DPRK's clarification of its intention for denuclearization of the Korean peninsula made through the Panmunjom Declaration is the result of so-called sanctions and pressure. He also slammed the U.S. for saying that Washington would not ease the sanctions and pressure until Pyongyang gives up its nuclear weapons completely. Meanwhile, the U.S. is moving to aggravate the situation on the Korean peninsula by deploying strategic assets on the peninsula and increasing its attempt of taking up the human rights issue against the DPRK. He said the U.S. move is nothing but a dangerous attempt to ruin the hard-won atmosphere of dialogue and bring the situation back to square one. The spokesman further warned that if Washington miscalculates the peace-loving intention of the DPRK as a sign of weakness and continues to pursue its pressure and military threats against Pyongyang, it would only be counter-effective to addressing the nuclear issue on the Korean peninsula. Russian President Vladimir Putin meets with the ministers of the government ahead of his inauguration ceremony. Putin thanked Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev and his cabinet for their work. Putin, 65, has been in power either as president or prime minister since 2000. Backed by state TV and the ruling party and credited with an approval rating of around 80%, he is lauded by supporters as a father of the nation figure who has restored national pride and expanded Moscow's global clout with interventions in Syria and Ukraine. Putin's fourth presidential term comes after he easily won the elections in March, receiving 76% of the votes. Communist Party candidate Pavel Grudinin was in second with 11.8%, followed by nationalist Vladimir Zhirinovsky with 5.6%, according to official results. Politicians say with a divided opposition at home and plaudits abroad, French President Emmanuel Macron has something to celebrate on his one-year anniversary since taking office. Macron followed up last year's shock election in which he sidelined mainstream parties from left and right who had governed France for decades with a front-loaded program of reforms, including to France's hallowed labor code, university entrance, immigration policy and the state-run SNCF. His government has a hefty majority and is facing a once mighty conservative party in disarray, socialists reeling from a near-electoral wipeout, and a far-right struggling to overcome its own crushing defeat. Unemployment is falling and growth is improving, but economists say the rosier picture is due at least in part to stronger growth across Europe, as well as policies put in place by Macron's predecessor, François Hollande. But in some polls, his ratings are rising, a stark contrast to Hollande and Nicolas Sarkozy, both of whose popularity plummeted shortly after taking office and never recovered. Internationally, Macron swiftly invited both Russian President Vladimir Putin and United States President Donald Trump on lavish state visits, receiving the former at the glittering former royal palace of Versailles and inviting the latter to preside over the annual Bastille Day military parade. He flaunted his close relationship with Trump on a recent visit to Washington, D.C., though it remains unclear whether he has persuaded him not to ditch the Iran nuclear deal, and he failed to stop him pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord, another treaty treasured by Macron. Real Madrid forward Gareth Bale lashes home to deny La Liga champions Barcelona victory in an ill-tempered Clásico, which finished 2-2 at the Nou Camp after the home side had Sergi Roberto sent off at the end of the first half. Luis Suarez volleyed unbeaten Barca into the lead after 10 minutes following a gut-busting run and cross from Roberto, while Cristiano Ronaldo levelled from Champions League finalists Real 5 minutes later from close range. However, the Portugal forward's ankle was trodden on by Gerard Piqué in the process and he was substituted at half-time. Coach Zinedine Zidane said the injury was a small thing and Ronaldo will be fit for the Champions League final. Bale had risked getting set off for raking his studs against Samuel Umtiti's leg, but escaped without a booking on that occasion, and Roberto was sent off moments later for hitting Marcelo following an off-the-ball tussle. Lionel Messi scored a mesmerizing record-extending 26th Clásico goal to put 10-man Barca back in front after 52 minutes, but Bale, who had contributed little, silenced the Nou Camp with a thumping strike from the edge of the area in that 72nd. Champions Barca have 87 points, while Real are third in the Liga standings with 72 after 35 games. Atletico Madrid, who lost their unbeaten home record in a 2-0 defeat by Espanyol earlier on Sunday, are second on 75 but have played one game more. This was the first Clásico in a decade which had no bearing on the title race, but the game was still played with all the usual passion and tension, which makes it the most fabulous club fixture in Europe. Referee Alejandro Hernandez showed a total of 8 yellow cards as well as the straight red for Roberto. Bale was eventually booked, as was the usually even-tempered Messi, who made an uncharacteristically aggressive challenge on Sergio Ramos after the Real captain had an ugly confrontation with Suarez, which led to both players getting yellow card. Suarez appeared to have fouled Rafael Varane in the build-up to Messi's goal, and the Uruguayan forward had a goal ruled out for offside 3 minutes later. Both sides pushed for a winner and Real could have had a penalty when Jordi Alba caught Marcelo, but Barca clung on to remain unbeaten in the league with 3 games to go. Barcelona's players remained on the pitch after the game to celebrate their double success with the home fans, having clinched the title last week at Deportivo La Corona and won the Kings Cup final against Sevilla on April 21st. Real refused to offer the traditional guard of honor to the champions before the game, so Barca defender Gerard Piqué asked the Catalan club's coaching staff to form 2 lines either side of his teammates as they left the pitch. And that's all we have for you right now. Stay tuned for more news updates. Thank you for watching. Have a pleasant day ahead. Goodbye.